Welcome to our regular board meeting of the San Benito CISD Board of Trustees. Today is Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. The time is 5:31, and I call this meeting to order. We begin with roll call. Mario Silva.
Present.
Oscar Medrano.
Present.
Rudy Corona. Dr. Ariel Cruz. Frutoso M. Gomez Jr.
Present.
Orlando Lopez.
Present.
Teresa Cervellon.
Present.
Stephen Weller.
Present.
And I'm here. We have established a quorum. We begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States and the Texas flags and our invocation. Mr. Medrano.
Leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance is Amber Villapando from Rangerville Elementary. Amber Villapando is the daughter of Felix and Stephanie Villapando. She is a fourth grader at Rangerville Elementary and is part of Miss Crystal Martinez's class. She is the Battle of the Books team captain, a Rattlerette, and a member of the student council. Amber enjoys art and is quite the artist at her young age. She loves going home after a long day at school and patiently waits for her dad to check her math homework. She was also part of the Riverside Middle School 4th and 6th grade volleyball team, which won first place with the San Benito Boys and Girls Club. Lastly, Amber loves Rangerville Elementary and is excited to finish her elementary years at Rangerville Rattler. Lead us in the invocation also from Rangerville Elementary is Amy Garcia. Amy Garcia is 9 years old and is currently a fourth grade student at Rangerville Elementary. She is the daughter of Edwin and Yolanda Garcia. Amy currently serves as a member of the Rangerville Student Council. She participated in numerous events, such as a penny drive that helped raise $1,004 for the Team Walker Pete Cancer Foundation. She also participated in the February's Valentine's Drive that consisted of collecting and making cards for local nursing home residents. She is a very kind and caring child who loves helping others. She is an avid reader and enjoys reading all types of genres. She also enjoys art and often spends her free time drawing. In the future, Amy hopes to become a doctor so she can help people when they are injured or sick. Please stand so we can do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. These remain standing for a moment of silence. Everyone may be seated. Please, okay.
If you can please rise.
If you could please raise,
Rise. Okay. And I am going to say it, okay?
please bow your heads. Dear God, as we stand before you, we thank you for your numerous blessings and your opportunity to be here today. Thank you to our superintendent, stakeholders, and school board members that always seek to provide the best they can for our SBC ISD students, faculty, and staff. We place our trust and confidence in the leadership and humbly ask that you continue to grant them with the wisdom and guidance and any decision made. Please continue to fill our educators' hearts with the love of teaching and grant all students the knowledge and desire to learn. Bless everyone who is present here tonight and enlighten them with your magnificent presence. Amen.
Let's give these students a round of applause.
Thank you for listening to my prayer.
We want to give you a certificate and take a picture with the board. Will the parents of these fine students please stand up and be recognized at this time? And Principal Julie Aguilera, please stand up.
Next on our agenda is special recognition. Ms. Cervellon?
Yes, sir. We have Ms. Gonzalez that will be highlighting several of our students here tonight. We are so proud as our students continue to shine day in and day out at San Benito CISD. Ms. Gonzalez?
Good evening, Board President Moreno, trustees, and Superintendent of Schools Cervellon. Tonight, we were going to be recognizing 6 groups of students, but our Berta Cavazza Middle School tennis champions are at a track meet. So we'll bring them next month. We are recognizing student athletes that have recently made our district shine in the following sports: boys and girls powerlifting, boys and girls wrestling, and volleyball. We are quite proud of them and all they have accomplished. And I know that after you hear what they've accomplished, you're going to be just as proud. The first team that we're going to recognize is our girls powerlifting team. All girls that will be mentioned qualified to compete at regionals on March 1st at the Bert Ogden Arena, with a chance to compete at the state meet that was held in Frisco, Texas. Arabella Aguirre. Belinda Arispe. Alyssa Baker. Karen Cardosa, state qualifier. Clara Cepeda, state qualifier. Cassandra Cruz. Jaslyn Estrella, first place and state qualifier. Haley Galarza, fourth place and state qualifier. Mia Gutierrez, fifth place and state qualifier. Daniela Herman. Leandra Machuca, second place and state qualifier. Mia Munoz, fourth place and state qualifier. Viviana Munoz. Alyssa Nino, third place and state qualifier. San Juana Rodriguez Mandujano. Janissa Siles. Amira Smith. Hannah Trunnell. Head coach Greg Blanco. And assistant coach Alyssa Hernandez. Okay, among this group of girls, we have 3 that placed at the state. If the 3 of you can come forward when I call your name. Leandra Machuca placed, She placed fourth at state in the 132 weight class. We have Haley Galarza, fourth at state in the 97 weight class. And we have Jaislyn Estrella, our state champion. As a team at state, they placed 6th out of 67 teams. Will the parents of the athletes please stand and be recognized? We're going to take a group photo of everyone. If we can get a photo with our state champion, trustees, and superintendent. Our next students are our boys powerlifting team. They were Region 5 Division 1 qualifiers. We have Israel Juarez, third in the 114 weight class. Jose Martinez, ninth in the 242 weight class. Francisco Medina, sixth in the 308 weight class. And Jerry Alvarez, 10th in the super heavyweight. Head coach is Carlos Cuellas, and assistant coach Mario Marmolejo. I believe they're working the track meet tonight. If these young men's parents can stand and be recognized. Actually, I think they drove here on their own. We're going to take a group picture. Our next group of athletes are our girls wrestling team. They placed second at the 16 6A district tournament, qualified 7 athletes to the regional tournament and 1 to the state tournament. Regional qualifier, Alexa Leja. Regional qualifier, Brianna Castillo. Regional qualifier, Brianna Resendez. Regional qualifier, Adamarie Cortez. Regional qualifier, Mia Padilla. Fourth at regionals and state qualifier, Lauren Cantu. Regional qualifier, Maritza Mendoza. Star Juarez. Leah de la Garza. Ruby Lucio. Danita Garcia. Leanne Garcia. Caroline Hagstrom. And Angeli Ortega. Their head coach is Kristen Longoria. And assistant coach Juan Caballero. Will the parents of these athletes please stand and be recognized? Time for a group photo. Next, we have our boys wrestling team. Among the group, we have 1 district champ, 2 silver medalists, 2 bronze medalists, and 9 qualifiers to regionals. We have Ismael Lerma, district champ and regional qualifier. Gabriel Lopez, 5th at regional, 5th at district and regional qualifier. Christian Domansky, 3rd at district and regional qualifier. Moises Lopez, 5th at district and regional qualifier. Andrew Resendez, 2nd at district and regional qualifier. Andrew Pedraza, 5th at district and regional qualifier. Christian Faz, 3rd at district and regional qualifier. Brandon Salinas, 2nd at district and regional qualifier. Nick Garcia, 4th at district and regional qualifier. Their head coach is Valdemar Olivares, and assistant coach Kenneth Rubio. Will the parents of these young men please stand and be recognized? Next, we have our, photo. Lastly, we have our volleyball team. They made the 2022 playoffs and the by-district finalists. They were in 4th place. Ruby Martinez, Caitlin Guerra, Alisandra Gallegos, Madeline Becerra, Jacada Ibarra, Hannah Rodriguez, Cassandra Guzman, Alyssa Nino, Amira Rodriguez, Josanne Montes, Alyssa Gonzalez, Patricia Mendiola, managers Janae Valdez and Joe Ibarra. Head coach Ruby Medina. Assistant coaches Vicky Flores, Roxanne Mills, Deandra Padilla, Kristen Logoria, and Aaliyah Gonzalez. Will the parents of these young ladies please stand and be recognized? We will now take a group photo. This concludes our student recognition portion.
Thank you, ma'am. The next item on the agenda is public comment. Before we begin, I will remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comment. The public comment portion of our meeting is available to members of the public who wish to address any topic. Anyone who would like to speak during public comment must sign in prior to the start of the meeting and list the topic or topics they want to discuss. Each public comment speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board for each topic. If more than 10 speakers are signed up to speak on the same topic, all additional speakers on that item shall be limited to 2 minutes. However, any public testimony speaker who requires a translator will receive up to 6 minutes to address the board. Please keep your comments or criticisms civil and courteous. Please avoid using profanity and refrain from making personal attacks on others during your opportunity to speak. Lastly, we ask that you do not discuss students who are not your own children. If a speaker is seeking board resolution of a specific complaint, that concern should be addressed through the district's grievance process. District policy DGBA has been established for addressing employee complaints. Policy FNG is the avenue for filing parent complaints, and policy GF addresses community member complaints. Grievance forms may be obtained at any campus administration office or at the district's central administration offices. Thank you. Our first speaker tonight is Jesus Aguilera. Mr. Aguilera, welcome.
Okay. We're going to start with VMA. And again, some of the parents are here. How the principal handles fighting at VMA. And if I slur, is that I'm already tired, so. Talking to a parent today, accusing the parent that she was gossiping about our VMA principal with a group of people. The principal's job is to keep the children safe, and if the children who were beaten up don't feel safe, it's the principal's job to reassure the children and the family. As an administrator, parents are not always going to like you based on the decisions you make, but you are still responsible for being every child's advocate. Perfect point, Mr. Rion. A lot of your principals don't like you. I can tell you that. Number two, the children that get beat up. Right there. Happened sometime in October. You can look.
Mr. Aguilera, just to interject real quickly, I need to make a point that I know you, I'm assuming that you have a video, sir? but
You don't want me to show it?
No, we can't show the student, not the student to the public.
Well, it's,
I mean, if they
she's
seen
giving
it,
her back to the whipping she's getting. Is that good?
I would rather you refrain from showing our
Okay,
students.
no problem,
Thank you, sir.
no problem. How about the last one with the cheerleader? That one's bad too, right?
I understand, but
Okay,
they're still
okay,
our
I
students.
understand.
They're still
I
our
understand. But that's why I covered up that girl's face. But if you see the videos, they're pretty bad. When somebody's getting whooped from the back, you saw our state champion, right? Well, that's how big she was, hitting that little girl. Okay, now, those are important things, and very important. That's why I talked to them about them first. Now let's talk about the $40 million bond. There's only one person here that is responsible for all, and you can smile as much as you want because you're the one that did it, all right? You, personally, okay? Gotta get myself controlled here. Anyway, $40 million bond. It's gonna cost us $90 million by the time we get done. And tomorrow, you're gonna find out the GEO report, the GEO report, that those buildings that were made over there are not up to standard. You might get it today, I don't know. Okay? This man put us in a bind. And he put you know why they were put over there by the expressway? And this is him telling me, because he wanted everybody to know what San Benito had built. And that Resaca swampland, okay? That's the only reason he wanted it built over there. And he's the only one responsible. Everybody else, you weren't here yet. Also responsible? I'm going to the next one, sir. Dr. Carmen. He's responsible for him coming here. He's responsible for paying him $230,000 a year, $1,800 for house expenses to pay his rent or house. We gave him a car. We gave him gas money, a cell phone, and we paid for him and his family's insurance. But don't forget, he wanted to give him a $1 million contract for 4 years. The boy don't even know what $1 million looked like. $1 million contract. In fact, Carmen stopped me here. He said, Chuy, stop talking about me. I'm not going to get the $1 million contract. And let's not do the same thing we did last year and give one individual teacher a 2-year contract. ¿Todos hijos de Dios o todos hijos del diablo? That coach did not deserve a 2-year contract. And I won't say certain things because it'll hurt some kids, so I'm going to keep from saying it today. I thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Right, next we have Nelda Cantu. Ms. Cantu, welcome.
Hello, my name is Nelda Cantu. My daughter is a student at BMA campus and has been a victim of bullying. It all started in 8th grade. She started getting verbally, then physically. October the 22nd, 2022, she was physically assaulted and sent to the hospital. It continued. I continued to make outcries to the principals, to the assistant principals, phone calls, emails, and everything continued for months. This happened back in October. We're already March. I don't know when the bullying stops. I don't know what to do anymore. I mean, this principal says that she is here for her children, but she's not. She's not here because she didn't hear me back then. Yesterday, I got a surprise visit from her to my home, wanting to check on my daughter after all these months that I've been telling her what's happening, and all of a sudden she wants to go check on my daughter. After I did a grievance report on her. Now it's important to her after all this time. And it shouldn't be like that because nobody deserves what happened to my daughter. You saw the picture. He has a picture. That's my daughter. I have pictures, I have hospital bills, I have police reports, and you put the same student back in the school where my daughter's at so she can continue to bully my daughter. All the administrators know. I mean, you all here, I see the posters at the school. zero tolerance is bullying. It's not. You all don't listen. You all claim bullying. You don't know the situation, but I'm here to tell you. I got pictures, I got proof, whatever you want, ask me. I have records of calling VMA, being up in that school day after day, worried about my daughter. My daughter doesn't want to go to school. She has anxiety, she has depression. So much is going on with her because why? 45 days in PRC is enough for her to physically assault my daughter. Why? That's all we can do. That's all we can do. I continue to make reports. She harassed my daughter's friend. The day she was back to the school, she threatened to jump my daughter again. I was back in that school. We'll handle it. They had my daughter followed, security. We're gonna handle it. Oh yeah, having my daughter followed through the cafeteria to her class. My daughter is not a criminal. What has this school come up with? What do I have to do to make out these outcries to the school? My daughter doesn't feel like she should be followed. I don't feel like she should be followed like a criminal. So I'm asking, I want change. I want change for her, for all the students that are getting bullied right now. And I think it's pathetic. Everybody up here stands here and says, we're here for the kids, re-election, whatever. You all don't even know what's going on in there. And I'm so upset and so sad, and I'm here for her because I don't like talking in front of people, but she encouraged me to do this, and I'm doing it for her and for everybody else.
Ms. Cantu, I'm going to need to stop you. I thank you. Your time limit is up. Thank you. Next, we have Juan Juarez. Mr. Juarez, welcome.
I would first like to thank the superintendent and school board president, and of course all school board members and the community for hearing me and allowing me to speak today. First of all, I would like to address the lack of steps and initiatives taken by the school board to help further the education of students. In my courses, along with members of all the student body, we have been receiving defective laptops. The cows, the cards that charge computers, they don't even work. It's only the top row. We've addressed this many times and nothing has been done about it. It's sad because after COVID, a lot of the teachers resorted to doing online work, and that's them. But the disconnect is with the Wi-Fi. With the Wi-Fi not working, that hurts us as the students. We have to go out of our way, and mind you, sometimes we could be absent. Not everyone has access to internet at home. So that hurts the students and students' grade in general in terms of that. Moving on to my next topic, I would like to address the measures taken to protect students along with the school. The final solution made by the board, the locking of the M Hall. The locking is inadequate and counterintuitive. I say this because with this locking, it does nothing for the students. It does nothing at all. We're left standing outside. The teachers had to buy a little doorbell just so they can know when we're there. It doesn't benefit us in terms of attendance or even arrival. And we know what it's all for. Sadly, this is the state that we live in now, but we all know what's going around in schools. It happened in Uvalde. That's why these measures are being taken. With that locking, it's not going to help anyone. It's actually going to hurt more people than anything. With the locked door, that's preventing someone that could get inside or outside. I don't see that as being right. I would also like to mention the length of the school days. Why are we, the only school in the Valley, going in at 8:16, getting out at 4:30? With the math done, everything added, all those hours, that's an extra 30 days. That's something we don't need. Mind you, you got students that stay for extracurricular activities. They don't get home till like 8. That's sad. And I understand people do have rides, but there's people that are dependent on the school transportation system. They get home very late and teachers stay because they care. Because if they didn't care, then what's the law, And I feel for them. I hurt with them. It's sad that has to happen. There's times where I have to give rides to people because I don't want them walking home, especially on the cold days. That hurts me. For my next topic, the school funding issue. This has taken a big hit in lessons plans. with extracurricular activities and even core classes. There are teachers who have to resort to buying stuff out of their own pocket just to get by with, in terms of labs or even helping fund these things. We're San Benito, the golden standard, correct? Well, with that, you can't even provide for these activities / careers because you got teachers that just don't want to pay that because it is a lot of money for all the students that you're paying for, the supplies, projects, that's a lot. And for nothing to be done about it, it's kind of sad. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Beatriz Palomino Villarreal. Ms. Villarreal?
My first topic would be public speaking comment. I want to give you the definition of it. It's the activity of speaking publicly on a subject or subjects to a group of people who are unaware of the injustices being served to certain children because they don't wear a uniform or come from a family of political clout. Corruption from administrators, district leaders, and city officials. Example, our local judges and our very own district attorneys. Poor and unethical behaviors being performed by certain people, certain school administrators, board members, and our very own new superintendent. And finally, to make the community aware of the past and most recent illegal activities that our school cops, administrators, and district members who have decided to take a new role, which consists of role-playing judge and jury to selected students and cases, and the superintendent and board members are fully aware of the stupidity being fulfilled by the district employees. Public speaking is also used to make the community aware of the positive activities that are happening. But unfortunately, our district rarely has a positive impact on anyone or anything, or else I would be announcing it to the public too, don't you think? According to our Texas Government Code, Section 551.007 prohibits a board from prohibiting public criticism of the board or district, including criticism of any act, omission, policy, procedures, programs, or service. So with that being said, I believe that y'all cannot tell me or cut into any of my talking time. My following topic is topics. But before I continue with that, what you members sitting before me view as a dull, unpleasant, and negative topics, we as a community, parents, and citizens of San Benito see these topics as real-world district problems. So with that being said, please remember that in this moment, in this room, while I have the floor with minutes left on my topics and the clock, it is me, B. Palomino, that holds the power because I have the information and the facts that will allow the community to see not only through my eyes, but through the eyes of the parents that are living the nightmare topics that you as a whole unit have created. And you all want me to stay silent to it. So when I am speaking, please keep your mouths closed, because although I am reluctant, I am actually quite good at this. Although some of you might say I am out of character because I refuse to discuss these critical issues behind closed doors, in private, and you criticize me for showing public outrage on the immoral, unethical, and illegal daily behavior being performed by our San Benito employees, and you guys condone it. The San Benito Board Trustees and Superintendents condone the bad, poor behavior from our administrators. My next topic is board members and superintendent. I am deeply, deeply annoyed that these issues have not been resolved. It is almost like I'm stuck in a twilight zone. Only Nate Carmen isn't in it anymore. Now it's a new superintendent who is mimicking Nate's moves. How can we expect change when the board member to the right of me misses 1 to 2 board meetings a month, and when he does show up, he wants to argue with board members? Perfect example. He breaks penal codes and bullies parents and children. It's sad to see that we as a district will more than likely never flourish due to the reputation you board members seem to live up to. And with great disgust, I have witnessed it, and that is moral turpitude. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's when you convey and steal and burn principles for the sake of self-interest. You board members sit and lie with such a straight, honest face, and your campaign signs state lies. They mention you care, children first, budgets. Your campaign signs state passion and compassion, but your board decisions say different. The party before me does not believe in consistency across the board. They believe that forgiveness is selective. And by selective, I mean if your uncle is a judge, a local judge, a city judge, Judge Garza, for that matter. If you're a cheerleader, and maybe we'll consider your argument, depending what side of the tracks you live on. Bullying, my next subject. Bullying. The VMA main principal violated Texas Penal Code 37.0832, ignores parents' phone calls, ignores their cries for help, and feels she is not violating anything. Lies to parents and called my son a liar because she couldn't accept my son's verbal statement against her uniformed student that started the fight, the cheerleader. Ignored her mother's plea for help, which she was just here. She's been seeking help since October, but I can see the principal denying that allegation too. An elementary teacher bullied two 10-year-old little girls. She's still teaching at Downs. I'm having trouble understanding that. A student brings a knife to the high school. That's considered high school harassment, danger to society, a knife on campus. And we don't feel anything should be done about it, again, because political clout, political leverage. No phone calls to parents. I didn't get a recording stating that there was a knife on campus, but I forgot because it's legal, right? It was a 5.5-inch blade. The bullying continues with the judge, our local judges, the DA, police officers from our district, principal, superintendent. All of you guys you did obstruction of justice, false reports, refused to put discovery on reports, and the superintendent and board members allow students to return to campus and play sports. In the meantime, we're supposed to charge kids who are caught with vapes we don't even know if it is THC, the potent level of that THC, with a felony. When you guys have the power to say, no, we don't have to convict him, but you guys are convicting our children under an assumption, which is illegal in the state of Texas. That's to follow with power. Power, it's possession of control or influence over others in a positive way. You board members, along with the superintendent, hold power for bad, evil, malicious, and vengeance. The power you hold is to help yourself, not others. Parents and children are the victims, and the perpetrators are the people I just mentioned. Learn to separate and hold yourself accountable. You mentioned seeking grievance if we don't agree with your policy. How can we even get grievance if you put a time frame on it? You guys don't even return calls. I'm still waiting for a call since January, since this was first brought up. Accountability. When are we going to hold every single one of you accountable when you will never find yourself guilty? All I ask for is justice for the injustice, but you all don't want to give that. I agree with the student that came up just a minute ago. You guys put up and say you all did all these things for Uvalde. We're comparing it to Uvalde. Sadly, like he says, that is what we're living it up to. You lock the doors. I don't find an understanding on that either. But you say it's for the safety. But you took phones away from the students. I got a message stating, and I read a paper stating that it's a policy put in place. I would like to see that policy. And the presiding officer that put that policy or got it passed through the TEA. Because according to the House Bill 2610, that is not a rule. And according to also student handbook, the children can have phones. I agree with him with the minutes. I mean, you're saying we're going out by minutes rather than days. You need to make up your mind and be consistent with whatever it is you're going to be telling us parents and students. I'm going to finish, I jumped from one other subject, skipping the accountability. I'm gonna do my analogy on this. You have a rat and a squirrel. Both are rodents. Rats are considered ugly. They carry disease, but so does a squirrel. But yet we'll invite a squirrel in, we'll try to call it and bring it in. What's the difference from teachers and students? Because one's older and the others are younger, a teacher says the truth and a student lies. Recently, a teacher got bullied at the high school. There was immediate action taken. And when I mean immediate, the new principal did his job and disciplined the student. But yet when a student does an outcry, an outrage towards an administrator or a teacher, we can string it along for how long? Why is it that you guys did take care of the student, punish him immediately, but yet when it's the other way around, y'all don't do anything about it? We sit and we just act like we're gonna do something, but nothing gets done. So I will repeat it. You hold your power for bad, evil, malicious, and your own vengeance. It's to help yourself, not others.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker is Mr. Adan Oseguera. Mr. Oseguera, welcome.
Good evening, Board Trustees, Mr. President, and Superintendent Cervellon. Thank you for the time and opportunity to speak. My name is Adan Oseguera. First, on board procedures, there are times during public comment when people say things I disagree with or things I don't like, but I will always recognize and respect the right to express their message. I was one of many who years ago argued for a more open public comment like the one we have today. However, in several meetings this school year, there's a line that has been crossed several times, and it involves the procedure that states we ask that you do not discuss students who are not your own children. I think it is unacceptable to allow somebody to stand at this lectern almost completely unchecked, who calls our football players future Al Bundys, or who spends 25 minutes about a child's, not the public figure that the person's related to, but a child's alleged infraction with the law. It is my understanding that this rule's enforcement is at the discretion of the board president. I'm not requesting absolute enforcement, but to do so in a way that reflects the rule's purpose, which is to protect our students, please. Next, on CTE, a few meetings ago, you were presented with a proposal to boost our CTE program with facilities for welding and the culinary arts, and I'm glad the board is, I believe, moving forward with this project. I love when we invest in our students. Now, the costs were estimated at around $400,000, a familiar figure. If we go back to the fall, when the board approved a tax cut, the projected loss for the district was an estimated $400,000 annually. As I remember, a previous board member tried to downplay this loss as just a small percentage relative to the whole budget. But as we see here in reality, and considering the student who righteously spoke earlier, $400,000 can go a long way. And facilities like these are something the district can point to when you have constituents worried about where their tax dollars are going. I've seen some campaign on this tax cut, and I just want to provide a reminder. Your job, your priority as board members for a public school district is not to provide tax relief to your constituents. It's not to maximize profits for the gain of shareholders. It's to serve stakeholders of the community, the students, the parents, and other constituents, and the education of our youth. You are literally funding our future. So again, I applaud the board for this investment, for getting the PAC and auditorium back on track, and I hope in the future we can take another look at the tax rate. For resolutions, there's a bill, Senate Bill 8, that is pushing for an educational savings account. In other words, a voucher system. This would greatly harm our school district and others by putting tax dollars into private schools and charters who are not accountable to the public, who don't have a public comment where people can come and express their dismay or their praise. I think it would be great if the board could make a statement or pass a resolution in opposition to this bill. Some of you may want to stay out of playing politics, but as publicly elected officials, you would just be doing your job of protecting the school district. Another resolution or policy to look at, Brownsville ISD recently mandated 15 minutes of recess for all of their elementaries, and I think that's something that we would benefit from as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, this concludes our section on public comment. Next up, we have item 4.1, Board President's Remarks. My remarks tonight, folks, are short. First and foremost, I want to give out kudos to our San Benito CISD Transportation Director and employees for assisting recently La Jolla ISD during an unexpected situation on the road. Our team, our transportation team, safely transported students to the Gladys Porter Zoo. This group of students was from the Guillermo Flores Elementary in La Jolla, and their bus had undergone a severely damaged tire and rim. So while they were fixing the bus, our transportation team made sure that their students got to their destination safely. And Miss Nancy Martinez, I'm going to quote you. I know I see you in the audience. I'm going to quote you. I couldn't have said it better the way you said it, and I quote, "It is our absolute pleasure to assist our neighbors. We are all one team." End quote. That's what we're all about, doing what's right for students. So once again, thank you and your department for a phenomenal job. Thank you. On another note, I do want to mention, and this is my personal support for the San Benito CISD High School principal's decision to enforce the district's cell phone policy. As a campus principal myself, I know the importance and the value of maximizing instructional time. And as we know, you principals know, we know, that change is sometimes inevitable. And the change that I'm talking about at this current time is there was a change as far as the high school principal goes. Okay, so we have a new principal at the helm of the ship, and my perception is based on his evaluation. When somebody comes in, whether it's a new superintendent, whether it's a new principal, whether somebody comes into a position where they have other people that they have to oversee, they evaluate the situation. And based on my opinion and based on what I'm seeing is that Mr. Isasi did that. He is a strong instructional leader, in my opinion, and based on his evaluations and coming into the classrooms, I feel that his decision was very likely based on the way that cell phones were interfering detrimentally to instructional time. I do also want to say that for clarification purposes, I don't know, and I didn't have the time to research. I don't know if it's board policy or if it's just something that appears in the student and parent handbook, okay? But if we look at it, it is my understanding that cell phones are allowed in school, and it's mandated that the students have the cell phones off at all during the school day. That's a policy that I have on my campus. Cell phones are allowed, especially now, like our student said previously, the day and time that we live in right now, it's very important to have a way to communicate with the outside world in case of an emergency. So that said, I do want to clarify to our audience and to clarify this to our community as well. We're not saying that they're not allowed. They are allowed to have them on their person, okay? And we're even moving above that. We're not even, I don't believe that Mr. Isasi is saying that they need to be off, but they do need to be put away during instructional time. And once again, another thing that I do know for a fact, the way our block schedules are set up, especially at the high school level, students are receiving credits for subjects that they're taking within a semester. They're getting a full year credit for a one semester course, okay, or basically in a semester length of time. And so it's very important, and I know you principals realize this even at the elementary level, that instructional time is critical. And we need to be having in our classrooms not only bell-to-bell instruction, but we need to be having bell-to-bell learning for our students. So once again, I just want to reiterate the point of that statement or this statement that I'm making in reference to the cell phone. is that I want our community to rest assured that we're not banning the cell phone. Students will still be able to carry their cell phones with them. It's just trying to protect the instructional time. And so once again, rest assured that in case of an emergency situation, your students, our students' safety is of utmost concern, and they will be able to utilize their cell phones in case of an emergency. That's all I have for y'all tonight. Thank you. Next up, we have our superintendent's report.
Well, I'm going to start off this evening by introducing our Director for Student Success. I had not had the opportunity to introduce him to the community and to the school board formally. Mr. Cantu, if you'd come to the podium and a few words. Larry Cantu, Robstown resident. I've worked previously with Mr. Cantu and know his quality of work, his dedication to students, and his dedication to his craft. So, Mr. Cantu, welcome to the Rio Grande Valley. And, just a few words.
Thank you, Ms. Evian, Board of Trustees, President Moreno. I've been excited to be part of the San Benito team this past month. It's been a very exciting time. I've been assistant principal, a coach, and a teacher, elementary principal, middle school principal, director of research evaluation, and it's just exciting to be a part of this team and working with the individuals that I work around with daily. Some very, very good things happening here. And again, I can't tell you how excited I am to be a part of this team and to keep moving forward and working with this great team. Appreciate you guys for having me here.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Cantu.
sir. Welcome.
So I put him on the spot at the last minute, send him a text, you're coming to the podium. So, a few words tonight. This evening, I would like to start by posing a question to our students, our staff, and our community. What are you going to do with what you have? And I'm not talking about how much money you have. Some of us have patience. Some of us have kindness. Some of us bring love to the table. Some of us have a gift for the gab. Whatever it is, whatever your gift is, what are you going to do with what you have? Take chances and use your gift every single day. And if you fail, fail big. That's right, leave nothing on the field. We live in an ever-changing world filled with uncertainties. But always keep in mind that we all have only one life to live. So, do what you are passionate about. Take chances. Don't be afraid to dream big. But always remember, dreams without goals or a dream without a system to reach those goals are just dreams that ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but set goals. Life goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, daily goals, simple goals. But have goals and understand that to achieve these goals, you must apply discipline and consistency. In other words, a systematic approach to achieve your goals. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." I challenge everyone in our community, everyone in this room most especially, to dream big, work hard, take risks, and never give up. With this mantra in hand, San Benito CISD will continue to prosper, and we will prepare our students for all their future endeavors. Thank you, team, for everything you do day in and day out.
Next on the agenda is item 6.1, academic health report. Ms. Cervellon?
Yes, sir. So I will be calling Dr. McGee to the podium now. And we have also Ms. Cornett and Mr. Isasi that will have part of that academic health report.
Hello? Oh. Good evening, Board President Moreno, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Servion. We're here this evening to give some components of our academic health report. I'll start with our Director of Elementary Instructional Implementation, Mrs. Cornett.
Thank you, Dr. McGee. Good evening, Board President Moreno, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Servion. I'd like to go ahead and begin by giving you a little brief overview of one of our, yes, thank you, one of our universal screener. So okay, we're gonna start off with our curriculum guide, I apologize. So let me go ahead and quickly just hand these out.
So we did present our middle school course catalog, so we wanted to ensure that we also had something for you all to view as how we are rolling out instruction at the elementary campuses. Mrs. Cornett?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Servion. Yes, this is what we created here, is a broad overview of the curriculum that we provide in elementary. Our foundational curriculum, our enrichment curriculum, as a hope to be able to provide parents a resource to help their children and support their children in school and get a better idea of what their children are learning. As you notice, it kind of lists all of our schools, provides contact information for each administrator, for parents. Again, a broader and a more in-depth overview of reading, all the components of reading and mathematics, along with all the other content areas provided. And then if you look on page, let me put my glasses on page 9 through 11, you'll see it kind of gives them a broad, also more detailed review of what is being taught per quarter at each grade level for the different content areas, core content areas. So when parents want to know what's going on in school, what are we learning, and you're having a conversation with your little one, you can access this and kind of use that to prompt your child and say, what did you learn today in reference to? Moving forward, you'll take a look on page 12. It talks about our early childhood program and our collaboration with Niños Head Start. And so the campuses that are providing pre-K3. Quick note, if you'll note here, I did include Sullivan Elementary Environmental Science Academy. That is something that we're working on for the upcoming school year. Okay. Pre-K4, and then you'll see a little bit of information for our special POPs, so bilingual, special education, and gifted and talented. Any questions?
The curriculum matrix is available on each campus's website, or is it just on the homepage of the district website?
This one right here? Mm-hmm. It's on the district website, but we can definitely make it available on the campus websites.
Okay.
We haven't uploaded this yet, but we will be.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Great job. That's good information for us to know.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Oh, okay.
Next, we have our new, well, not so new anymore, but our high school principal, Mr. Isasi, to talk about our high school success plan. Let me move my stuff out of the way.
Good evening, board. Thank y'all for having us. Superintendent Servion, board president, board of trustees. So, let me see. Oh, that's kind of hard to see. I hope y'all have a copy of that. Okay. Okay, good. So upon coming to San Benito High School, which has been great, by the way. I know there's a lot of controversy sometimes in such a big district, and there's so many moving parts with it. But with the overall aspect of it, it's a very, I'm very, very proud to be here working with y'all. However, there are some areas of concern. And so what we've decided to implement, and by we, I didn't make this decision on my own. I had it with my counselors, my dean of instruction, my APs. I had assistance with our district PEMS coordinator, our CTE director, and how to utilize and maximize time as much as possible because, and we couldn't target every single thing that needs to be targeted. That'd be way too advantageous for the last 25 days before testing. And so what we looked at were the highest number of students who are retesting an end-of-course exam, whether it's, and the highest numbers right now are English 2 with 410 retesters. These are kids who've been unsuccessful on the STAR test so far to this point. And then also with Algebra 1, 240 students. This is not including our English 1 end of course. This is not including our biology end of course. This is not including our social studies end of course. This was to utilize and maximize a very focused plan for the next 20 to 25 days, depending on whether it's the math test, which is later in May, or the writing or the English test, which is in April.
Mr. Stassi, I'm sorry to interject. The number that you have here, are these the number of students that won't graduate if they don't pass, or they're just all overall retesters?
It's a possibility. So if students don't have a minimum of 3 tests that they are not successful in, they can't even go on to the next step, which is an IGC, Individualized Graduation Committee plan to be able to graduate. So yes, ma'am, most of these, or some of these are at risk of not graduating.
Okay.
And so that's why we focused on that part. And then, so what we thought the best way to do would be to, well, we actually looked at different options, and this was the only option that we could have that wouldn't impact school funding, because the last thing we want to do in these times is impact any type of negative impact on school funding. But what we did is we broke down each individual student, the entire campus. We have a tracker, and Mr. Martinez, I have to give him a great recognition because he can break down data like no one's business. And so like it was like a wizard moving everything around. But it took days, if not weeks, to disaggregate the data. And the best that we could do right now with this limited amount of time is to group our students by scale score on who's not successful. And then what we did is we cross-analyzed it with teacher availability and also reputable teacher reputability, and have it where the students could either go into their class, students who were successful were pushed into another class so teachers could focus specifically on this. And I know we say it all the time. It's more than just a STAR test. And I agree with that 100%. I do. I promise you I do. But at this point in time, we need to have these students have at least some type of success on a test that they haven't seen the class in 3 years. And so if a kid is taking an English 2 test, for example, they weren't successful at it 3 times at minimum, 10th grade, 3 times 11th grade, 3 times 12th grade. So that's 9, 10 times for any particular test. And so I think we'd be doing them a great disservice just to be throwing them cold and having these tests introduced to them again. And by the way, this new round of tests has more advanced questioning, a drop down, click. I'm pretty sure they're going to have a reCAPTCHA one day. Everything is just really complicated as far as what they want the students to do. And so while this is not, it's not my vision of what I would like to see at the high school, the high school's actually done pretty good for what it's had. But next year, we need to look at incorporating either at VMA or both, the high school, an opportunity for the students to get remediation so that they're more successful for this, so that they can go on and focus on those higher level classes, and then also get those industry-based certifications, do whatever they need to do to be successful. They don't need to have a test hovering over them for their high school career and that we're not preparing them for. And so with this, we've worked with our instructional coaches. Each single Cincinnatus and Miss Carab and Miss Rodriguez have helped. They've been on the campus. They've been talking with the teachers. And let me tell you, it's not a popular thing to implement something like this. It is not popular at all. However, I think I've met with the English teachers and math teachers, various ones, and they're more comfortable with this rollout with the support of the district. They're very thankful for the support of it. And what I'm asking for, so this is going to happen regardless today. What I'm also presenting to you today is for the consideration for the stipends also for these teachers. I've disrupted these teachers and I've disrupted these students. And so what I'm trying to do is make it a positive disruption, at least let them know that what we're doing here is your efforts are being understood, the extra time, the extra consideration, the after-school hours. And so I'm asking for a proposal of, for every single section that we have for these teachers, $1,000 stipend one time. And this is not to be gone into next year. Next year, hopefully the administration will do a better job, and myself included, in planning and preparing for these students so that we don't have to be put in this situation again. And so I ask for your consideration with that, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Sir, I got a question, Mr. Sassi.
Yes.
It's good to finally meet you, sir. So I'm going to be very careful with my words here, but not to alarm anyone or whatever, but it's very obvious that, just seeing you present, it's, I can see the stress, and I'm more than sure, in the high school it's stressful as well, and the kids are stressed out. It's very, very obvious, but are we going to do anything to communicate with our parents to make sure that we have their support as well, and they understand the importance of this whole process that we're trying to roll out for them and for their kids? For their kids mainly?
Yes, sir. So, and like I said, it's a very short notice type deal, but what we're planning on doing is notifying the students and the parents. The student schedules have been changed. It's, our counselors went into every single classrooms, notified each individual students of the changes of it. As far as parental, not at this moment, nothing has officially gone out, but what we're trying to get is a student name, their scale score, and where they need to be, and then the focused target of attack, plan of attack, so that they can know what's going on, but that has yet to come.
Okay, so if they need additional, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there, once you do the assessment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then each individual student's gonna have a pre and post test as well, and so that we can kind of see deficiencies and where to go at. But as far as notification of the students and parents, it's all been uploaded into their schedules and so forth. And each individual grade counselor, which the counselors, high school counselors, by the way, Ms. Halomo and Mr. Bernal, along with the entire counseling group, undertook a massive undertaking. And so, like I said, it was something that's designed to be very targeted, but it's the best worst case scenario that we are having, and we hope to see the return on investment for it.
Awesome, sir. Well, you thank your counselors as well as all the team and the effort to make sure that our kids get the resources they need to succeed, but, they will get the resources, because they need the resources. So, yes, sir. I appreciate that being proactive.
Well, we need to plan for it for next year. So,
Yes, sir.
when it comes for the recommendations for the schedule for next year for interventions and accelerated instruction, it needs to be part of our plan, because we're leaving these kids behind.
All right. Thank you, sir, for sharing this information. It's very important. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Stassi, I have some logistical questions. So this is gonna start as soon as possible, and it will continue until the test, which is about 25 days?
It's already started.
It's already started.
It's already started. So like I said, this plan is going to start regardless. It's already taken off. And it's either 20 or 25 days depending on each respective test.
Okay, and then for your proposed stipends, how much extra time are the teachers being utilized, or being asked to take on?
Well, they're taking on an entire coursework. It's 20 lessons, or 25 lessons. They have to plan, they have to print, they have to do a pre-assessment, post-assessment. They have to analyze the student data and see where they fall on each reporting category. And then they have to, also, they scaffold, and this is where the instructional coaches have helped ease their burdens as well. They scaffold different levels of curriculum based on individual kids. So you have the kid who's going to be approaching, you have the kid that's going to be meets, and then you have the student that will hopefully advance further. And so if they see student success with that, what they can do is provide more additional materials.
And this is on top of the work that the coursework that they are already teaching?
Yes, ma'am. And so we're asking a lot from them, and it's one of those things where we wouldn't ask them if we didn't think they could do it. The counselors, we all said these are top-notch people, and it's double-sided, because sometimes, like, well, the best teachers always gets asked to do, this and that. They're all good teachers, but we need them with the ones that have proven results right now that we can rely on.
And we hope that in your short time here at San Benito that you've realized that we have the best teachers.
Let me tell you, it's been great.
Okay, so we are not asking them to come in on the weekends yet.
No, ma'am.
Okay, this is all gonna be done within the schedule.
Yes, ma'am.
What's also important to mention is the fact that you're grouping a set of kids, high-need kids, right? Highly,
All
with
at
gaps, at-risk kids. Another thing that's important to note is when Mr. Isasi came in to speak to me about it, he had an idea. And the premise behind the entire structure is that we have a child, and I'm just gonna give you an example. We have a child that takes Algebra 1 test in ninth grade at VMA. And they have 3 chances, right, to pass that test, but they don't. But then they're a freshman, and they a sophomore, and they go into math models. They take it again 3 times. Then they're a junior, and they potentially go into geometry because they need 3, but they haven't passed Algebra 1. If you're a math person, you know that without Algebra 1, you're not gonna do well in math models or geometry. But yet, we are not giving them any additional support. All we're doing is going from Algebra 1, math models, geometry, 4th year, you don't take a math at all, right? But yet, there's not any remediation or support. I can tell you because for anybody else, Dr. McGee, that has a degree in math, your wife, me, if you don't have that algebra set, you're not going to be successful. And so you're passing, but you're passing marginally. And then you're gonna go to college, and we get a bunch of kids that go to college, and what stops them from getting a degree? College algebra. So here we are. And it's not only with math, because now the same thing's happening with English. And you're seeing that we're going to impact 650 students. And yes, we are asking for much. We're asking for much from Mr. Isasi, we're asking for much from our staff, but at the end of the day, the student is gonna go out into the real world, and if they want a job, or if they wanna go to college, they have to possess a certain skill set. And so this is our job, that's where we are now. There's a deficit, and if nothing else, this is the way you graduate from high school. And it is part of your graduation plan. So it's very important that we now front load it next year and we look at our kids in that manner. So again, like you're saying, Mr. Isasi's coming in March. He's coming in and doing some quick evaluations. He's trying to keep the integrity of the instruction in the classroom and stay very focused on instruction so we can support our students. And this plan is gonna do just that for our kids that are at most risk.
And yes, ma'am, thank you. And by the way, that's where one of my main decisions came to uphold the cell phone policy. And I know it can be deemed as controversial, but, and this is, aside from this isn't on the agenda, this isn't anything, but it does go hand in hand with this particular topic because we're leaving a lot of instructional minutes on the table. And in my observations, when I have walked into 25, 30 classrooms and 75% of them that's occurring, it's disheartening, and it's also, for me, it's upsetting because my family's moving over here. My kid's gonna be in high school one day, and I don't want that for them. I want better. And so I'm just trying to do what I would think I would want as a parent as well.
Mr. Isasi, have you gotten resistance from parents on the phone issue?
No, I actually, not to my office. I mean, everyone puts stuff on Facebook, but no one has actually come to me personally and expressed any concern or discomfort or safety, security. No one has short answer, no.
Mr. Isasi, I want to mention as well, going back to that cell phone policy, because I mean, as you are, I'm also a principal, and we do see that, and I'm sure that it's not unique to San Benito ISD, it's not unique to Rio ISD, it's everywhere. But when we have people such as ourselves that are tasked with going into the classrooms and making sure there's bell-to-bell learning and bell-to-bell instruction, and especially at the upper grades, when you have your 50-minute period, 90-minute period, whatever the amount of period is, and the teacher will tell you, and we have teachers tell us, well, we're done with the lesson, so they have free time. you know, we don't have free time. And one of the things that I make a joke of with my students is they say, sir, when are you gonna give us a free day? I said, when have I charged you for any of the days you've been in this school? We haven't charged you at all, you know, but I think those are great things that are happening at the high school. And I also want to thank Ms. Cervellon because of the point that she made for clarification purposes, that is in fact what's happening with our students, especially at the high school. They go in, having taken Algebra 1, and they don't pass the EOC, but yet they move on to the next class, math models, and then they move on, and they're still expected to continue to take that test with no remediation, no acceleration, no anything, because they're already on the next class, and then after math models, they go on to geometry. They still haven't passed that algebra, but they're still not getting that remediation. So one of the words that was used right now, and I'm going to say it was used rather loosely, that we're being proactive. I don't think that at this point with this, we're being proactive, we're being reactive. But with the plans that you have and your expertise, I see what's upcoming, and we will be proactive so that things like this don't happen again.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate y'all's support immensely. I don't think I would be a good administrator up here if I didn't try to uphold all the district policies regardless of when. I believe y'all put your trust in me to do what I feel is best for the student and the student interest, and ultimately for our community. We want our strong community to be strong, and so this may seem like just one test, but it's more than that. It's a big picture. So
I do have a statement. I did get a call from one of my neighbors. He has kids, children, students at the high school, and they thought that was a very good idea to do that. As we're getting to the end of the year, the students need to focus on their testing coming up. So they felt it was a very good idea for y'all to do that. So I want to thank you for that.
yes, sir.
Sir, one last question. Do the kids at the high school ever use their phones for instruction?
I'm sure teachers have incorporated into instruction, but from what I have personally observed, I get up and I'll observe 5-10 minutes in a class, and the kids on YouTube are watching a movie on Netflix.
Okay.
And unfortunately, our teachers are up there still teaching, but to what? I mean, like I said, it's if I were a community member and a parent, I'd be concerned. And that's not to say the teachers are bad teachers. I think we need to just get it under control. If a kid is done with their assignment in a 90-minute block and there's 5-10 minutes, sure, listen to some music. No one's saying that.
Right.
But let's make the profession of teaching respectable again. And I
Okay,
want to see that out of my teachers.
All right, thank you.
And to your point, Mr. Lopez, if I may, you're correct. There are many lessons, many activities that teachers can incorporate with their students where the use of cell phones can be very productive.
So they do use them?
And they do,
Oh,
I mean, in
okay.
some situations, I mean, I can't say that every single classroom does.
So, and in that aspect, I've actually told the teachers, if it's written in your lesson plan, whether it's Kahoot, whether it's whatever type
Okay.
of thing, go for it.
So then it's going to be customized okay, so
Each-
To the task at hand, but it also needs to be monitored.
Right.
And I know that we're not here to talk about my campus, but we have a program called Aristotle where we can monitor what, you know, if the students are on the laptop, we can monitor what they're doing. If they're veering away from where they're supposed to be, then we can actually block it and stop it. And so I think the biggest thing here is when teachers need to have that experience of utilizing the cell phones or the iPad or the Chromebook or whatever. But the most important thing is the monitoring, because if they don't monitor students, they're going to be students and they're going to veer away from what they're supposed to be doing.
And we just need growth. And so I think this is part of every single aspect, and that's one component of just, for me to say we give it our all. It'd be, I would hate to look at you and say, let's do all this and not impact and change that factor. So I just want to make sure we cover every single thing so that when we analyze our return on investment on this initiative, that we can confidently say every single thing was taken into consideration.
And also, just in closing, Mr. Isasi and the instructional coaches came to present their plan, and I know that we challenged the plan. We interrogated their reality, and it was tweaked again because we wanted to make sure that it was, you know, customized for each student, and that we were providing the support for the teachers. And with his I mean, what can I say about Mr. Isasi? He's a true instructional leader. He understands curriculum, he understands instruction, and he understands what the kids need. And so with that quickness that he had with the coaches, with his teachers, I want to thank your teachers too, because they were awesome. You know, they came up with a really solid plan that all our kids are going to really learn.
So, yes, we did tweak it. It was,
It was a good session.
it was an hour and a half, but anyway, it was a good reality of what are you going to provide for our kids, and it's a charge. And when it's just my chief academic officer and my superintendent looking at me and telling me, this is what you think is going to do it, and go back and do more, you take it seriously. I take it seriously. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, Dr. McGee, you have 1 minute. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, no. Well, again, thank you, Board President Moreno, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Servion. Today, I want to talk to you about hashtag elevating education. So what does it mean to elevate education? Well, for the beginning of the school year, you gave us a charge, and that charge, starting with the Board of Trustees, the budgeting decisions you make impact instruction. And then, Mrs. Servion, with the budget that we have, with the initiatives, we have to provide instruction for our kiddos. And so it starts with 4, 5, 6. We have our instructional playbook, our fundamental 5, and our formative assessment. With that, we do have a bullet points of some of the district investments and initiatives aligned with 4, 5, 6. The budget that you approved helped us with fundamental 5 training, helped us acquire, amplify universal screening and intervention through RTI, and RTI as well, the implementation of instructional walkthrough protocols, the learning walks, campus instructional professional development teams, the alignment of MAP assessments, which were used in a way that didn't impact student learning in the way that it does now. TILPOS training with Dr. E.T., which I heard was totally amazing. The Gold Leadership Development Academy, we actually did mock interviews to help our participants prepare in case they want to be principals or other types of administrators, leaders, and that was exciting for them and for us as well. A renewed focus on new teacher support, and then increased professional development offerings for our teachers, assistant principals, and our principals. So what does that mean? From the beginning, before our teachers experienced the fundamental 5, our principals did. And I don't know if they remember this, but we're going to share. So we want to model those best instructional practices in terms of getting together, coming up with a plan that is infused with the initiative of the Fundamental 5. So we get them together into the type of professional development they receive is really rich and deep. Not only do they get together to learn about the Fundamental 5 in these type of settings, but we also bring in experts such as our MAP representative. They come through, and over a day of learning, they learn how to use the, not only how the MAP assessment is used, but how to interpret the data. Then they turn that around back on their campuses. And so we've been very intentional because, as was mentioned, principals are the instructional leaders of the campus, and we want to infuse them with that and give them to the autonomy and freedom to operate in that capacity on their campuses. Next up, another thing, our fine arts teachers, elementary, they had not been to the TMEA, which is the premier conference for music educators. So again, we, through the budget and the decisions you've made to empower our superintendent and our office, allowed us to give them that opportunity. And so I have to give a shout out, since we're talking much about professional development, to our Director of Professional Development, Ms. Ramirez, who's been instrumental. There she is right there. We really gave her a charge. It was like, we have to do this for our team, and she has really come through. Again, our Mrs. Gonzalez, our bilingual director, is she? She has also, She has also been instrumental in ensuring that our bilingual students have the support that they need and really built out a comprehensive program. She, along with our Director of Special Services, Mrs. Rivas Leal, put on this event. I'm not going to show that video. I really wanted to, but I knew I wouldn't make it out of here. But y'all come see me. I have something to show y'all later on. But it was an awesome event. And the things that I'm showing you, most of them, about 95% of them is taking place just in these first 3 months of the year. This is the impact that we've been able to make based on the decisions that you've made to help us grow our programs. Going back to empowerment, empowering our teachers. This was a teacher-led conference. The teachers submitted to present to their peers, and we had a 3E conference. But we had a wonderful third grade student who provided our keynote. And here's a part of what he had to say. Make sure the volume's good.
I made it on the first time, and I'm a keynote speaker for you all here today. None of this would be possible if it wasn't for the amazing educators in my life. Now I know I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes. School is still hard. I have a lot more to learn. But I'm positive that with great teachers guiding me, I can do anything I set my mind to. It's students like me who need great teachers like you. Thank you.
There were a lot of onions in the room when he was speaking, just like not a dry eye in the house, but he was awesome. These teacher-led conferences, I just wanted to show some pictures at a highlight. It was well attended. We had great feedback, and what we heard is we want more of this. So our teachers have been empowered. When teachers are empowered, they want to stay. That's a great retention policy there. But we also have, it's a team effort. And so as a part of this, we recognize our custodial and maintenance staff. And it was essential for us at the end of the day. They were working so hard, we were like, get up on the stage. You deserve your moment in the sun too, because we're all in this together. So we definitely want to recognize them as well. You also approved innovative schools, starting with the Go Academy, which is our virtual academy. It does serve grades K through 8. Average attendance is 93%. One of the things about the Go Academy that even the TA and other virtual schools around the state, how we differ is because of our synchronous instruction. We have real live teachers with our students all day long, to the extent that we do meet monthly with the TA and their program provider, and they ask us, for example, I'm speaking on a panel next week because, again, the decisions that you made to empower us and our programs are making us, you've heard, our sports team's doing it, our academics are doing it, and it's just exciting to be able to represent this district at a state and even national level with some of the other work that we're doing. The teachers also have teacher training on best practices in digital education. We do average around 116 enrolled students, and just at a base level, that generates approximately $714,560, saying that correctly, but that doesn't include our weighted ADA. And so we have, for example, students who require special services, gifted and talented students, our 8th graders who are taking a CCMR course, and that is included. So it's actually a bit more. Okay. Here are some pictures from our Go Academy. So even though it's a virtual school, we still do many of the things that our in-person campuses do as well. We celebrated Texas Public Schools with the open house. We have tutoring sessions and intervention sessions. We meet in person. One of the things we did with our TA partner was we developed a mission. It was a team effort. And their mission now is to provide a safe, supportive, cooperative learning environment that builds lifelong learners. So it wasn't something that one person created. It started with our teachers, our administrators, our students, our family members who completed a survey, and so that's what it's about. And so we're happy to do that, even in a virtual environment. Here's just a little tidbit of what they do.
Awesome. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Go Academy. Woo, woo, woo. Awesome, guys.
Just wanted to give you a little wave. Again, another thing with our innovative schools allowing us to reimagine choice education with Inicio. One of the things that was great and we want to continue is we started going out into the community and engaging them through our market days. When we first went to Arlington, it was like, why are y'all here? And it's like, cause, we want to engage the community. Come on over to come on over to San Benito. But we also went to San Benito, and it is our goal as the Office of Academic Services to continue to go at a minimum to the San Benito Market Days and have themes so we continue to engage the community. They were happy to see us out there, and we're happy to continue to go. We also had informationals at our different schools, and so it was exciting to have the community come out and see what Inicio Academies were all about. We had our interviews and assessments. This is from the Collegiate Academy. And even our littles, even though their feet can't reach the floor, we also have our littles who also do interviews as well. We do send out letters to Mrs. Servion, signs each and every letter we send out, and our families have been really happy. And here's another video I want to show you.
I have to give the papers on March. I don't care if it's good. What does it say? Congratulations, we are excited to offer you. I got accepted! You did? It says, congratulations, we are excited to offer you an admission to the Collegiate Academy at Veterans Memorial Academy for 2023 through 2024 school year. Based on your achievements, you have demonstrated that you can make it important something as a student at the Academy. Congratulations! Oh my God! Yay!
We know we have amazing students, and so we're excited to meet them, and we'll have a gathering next month, and hopefully you all will be able to attend. Again, not only when we're empowered to do the work that we're able to do through the decisions that start with the foundation of the Board of Trustees, it filters, and then our employees that mean so much to us, they start to be recognized. You have a HEB, a Lifetime Achievement finalist. You have a Region 1 AP Teacher of the Year, even a Skills USA Texas Region 13 Advisor of the Year. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of the recognition that our employees are starting to receive, and it's a very exciting time to be a Greyhound. We have our district academic competitions. Here we had our spelling bee, again, a community engagement. We're really being intentional on several fronts to triangulate the type of service that we provide as an academic department. Finally, whether it's CTE, elementary programs, college and career, our after-school program, or special services, San Benito Schools, again, it's always great to be a Greyhound. And I know the special saying, once a Greyhound, always a Greyhound, and I'm always privileged and honored each and every day to be in the opportunity to serve with such an amazing group of people. What questions may I answer?
Congratulations, Dr. McGee, on the stuff you've done and all your people that you work with. It's an honor to work with you and your staff. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Very well done. Great job, everybody. Thank you for all you do.
I should go back to that first video with the principals. Thank you.
All right, next up on the agenda are consent agenda items under academic services. Item 7.1, request approval of the. It didn't come out on here. On mine it didn't. Okay, never mind, we go back. We're going to item 6.2. Construction report. Sorry about that, Ms. Rio.
Yes. I'm going to ask our architect from ROFA, Mike Alex, to go ahead and come forward as he'll give us an update on our construction projects, our PAT and our NAT. Welcome, Mr. Alex.
Thank you. I was just going to say I need to go to y'all's market days since y'all are coming to ours in Harlingen. Good evening, Superintendent, Mr. President, and members of the board. Thank you for this opportunity. We're very proud to be associated with the architectural design work on this project, both the Performing Arts Center and Natatorium. I'm just going to, next slide, please. I'm going to give a brief report on the progress of the work at both projects, starting with the natatorium. So the latest updates as of today, which I've been out to the site and looked, and it was raining most of the day, in the morning at least. They're working on the warming pool. The pool panels are in place. Let's see. Working on the formwork for the rebar for the wing walls at the competition pool. They're scheduled to pour those early next week. Beams between pools are on hold at this time. They're also working on backfill and compaction at the perimeter of the building. Brick is scheduled to arrive in May. Installation of the roof is pending some installation. Lamone Masonry, who's the masonry subcontractor, is doing all the demising walls, we are calling detailed interior of the building, demising walls within that building. Miscellaneous material on site is rebar and for the pool concrete, gravel and dirt, fabric and backfill for the pool area. Joist and beams for the pool are on site too. Structural steel and metal deck as well. CMU for the exterior and interior walls is there, as well as the competition pool walls themselves are actually on site. Pool equipment installation for the roof is also on site, and insulation and waterproofing for the exterior walls is also on site, and various sundries of equipment are also there. On the next slide, there is a list of things that have been going on, activity there. We're in the middle of pouring some more foundation out there, so there's the stage area itself where the performers will actually perform. It's an elevated stage. That's going to pour next week on the 23rd. It passed inspection yesterday. Elevator pit walls, which are walls that are lower than the finished floor, are also being poured this week and such. And it will finally pour, it looks like, on Friday. Pilasters, which are actually columns within the space of the auditorium itself. There's an observation on the 27th, and they're trying to pour a lot of those pilasters next Tuesday. The flex area is also, if you recall the layout of the building, the flex area is the area where the performers practice and perhaps rehearse before they go on. It also allows for banquet kind of seating or auditorium kind of seating. That's going to pour on Thursday, so that'll pour on Thursday. The 31st, Friday on the 31st, sorry. CMU scheduling continues in the office area. CMU also is at the stage area, and more CMU is scheduled to work on the walls themselves beginning on Friday the 31st. MEP, which is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing rough-in, continues behind the CMU installation. So that's all the rough-in for all the electrical and plumbing and such. Various materials, including trusses, are also already on site. We keep talking about the steel because it was a really important component and took a long time to get on site. So we're very happy that it's finally arrived and is on site. Miscellaneous rebar is also on site, CMU block walls and such. And just as we're finding in the NAT, roof insulation is on site, and waterproofing is also there too. There's also some mechanical units that are on site too, which is another good thing too, because there's long lead time on the mechanical units. And like I said at the bottom, there's various sundries of equipment on site too. That's my report. And if you would like, I can report at every monthly meeting or whatever, just to kind of give you a progress of the work and answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Alex, I have a question in reference to the number that it appears on the far right-hand side.
Thank you.
You have, based on what you're presenting, am I interpreting this correct, that based on what you're showing us, our projects are at 33.5% completion rate, when we were upon exiting of our project manager, and even in the newspaper, it was said that we were at 80%.
Yes.
So I, by no means am I any construction expert, but I mean, 33% compared to 80%, that's a huge difference.
It's definitely not 80%, but I would say that it is higher than these two numbers here. These two numbers are calculating the latest application for payment that we approved, which was in just yesterday for January, so January's payment. So I would say we're a few percentage points further ahead than that, but I don't think we're 50% on either job yet at this time, so, yes.
Thank you for that, and I've got a couple of follow-up questions then. So I believe last, and again, this is off the top of my head, the last estimated time of completion was, I believe, December of 2023.
That's correct.
And based on a 33.5% completion rate, I don't think that's gonna come to fruition by December 2023. Do you, with your expertise, have any idea as to when these projects may be completed and when our students might actually be able to enter these buildings and make use of them?
So we've been asking for a revised schedule from the contractor since November, and I do believe we just received it today.
Okay.
I have not had a chance to look through it, so I beg your pardon for not understanding what the new schedule is based on what the contractor's latest schedule. But I think it is safe to say we're not going to be finished by December. We're going to be perhaps as much as 6 months beyond that, I think. Yes. So, but again, I'm speaking from some ignorance because I just got the schedule.
Okay.
So perhaps at the next meeting, I'd be more than happy to be more specific. We can drill down and look at the schedule very closely and be able to tell you more precisely about when we think they're going to be finished.
Okay.
Could you email could you email us this, because we don't have it?
Sure.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Sir,
My final comment and my final question right now is, as we were getting public comment, and what I usually do is I make notes as to the concerns from our constituents. And so one of the things that was brought up was I don't know where this is coming from, but as far as structural issues on the PAC and the NAT based on geopiers, or what is that all about? Can you elaborate on where that concern is coming from? And is it are these actual things that we need to be aware of?
We have observed some ambiguities in the foundation as we speak, and this happened late last week or early last week. And so we've decided to hire independent surveyors to determine if the building has moved from its position, not by itself, but was laid perhaps differently or in an incorrect position. It would be a concern because the geopiers are directly underneath this foundation. And we want to make sure that if the building did shift in its position from where it was supposed to be to where it is now and placed, we want to make sure the geopiers are directly underneath them. So it has the potential to be a structural problem, but again, I'm still investigating it. I don't have all the information yet, so it would be premature for me to tell you if it's a serious issue or not, but we are on top of it. We've had an independent surveyor out there taking new instruments and measuring out there to figure out where we're at right now. So I'm happy to report, perhaps as early as the end of the week, to Superintendent Sevillon those findings, and then she can disseminate that to y'all.
Okay. I have a couple of
Thank you for that,
comments.
sir.
First of all, the article said that Brighton Group was 80% done with their work, but with their scope of work, but that's not what my questions. Second thing, Ms. Sevillon did send us all an email about some concerns that were being investigated, so we were aware of something like that. And Mr. Alex, I just want to thank you so much for your work on all this. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
What do you think is the reason for the delays? Is it a lot of things not coming in, not being here to, because I see, the first thing that I saw was that this roof is waiting for the bricks to be laid, and the bricks aren't even here yet. Is that something that's occurring throughout the entire project, or?
I mean, to your question, what are the delays? I don't think it's one singular thing. I think it's a number of things. And it's been my opinion that the single most important issue has been the lingering and persistent COVID effects that have delayed the project getting material out to the job. But there have been other delays too. We've had almost 2 months of time that passed at the very beginning of the project to get a building permit from the city. We've also had a huge amount of rain at the beginning of the site when we were in the dirt, which can't be ignored either. So there's a number of things. I don't think you could pinpoint just one singular thing. None of us on this job are perfect, and we all make mistakes. Certainly, we may have had a delay or two just by approving some submittals, but we don't think that that there's really just one thing that's contributing to all this. It's been a number of things, and perhaps if the pandemic hadn't been around, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. But I think there's a lot of things. Yes, not just one thing.
Sorry, I got a question for you, sir. Back to what Ariel said. Yeah, there was an article in the paper that said that Palazzo services were 80% or whatever. So I guess my question to you, sir, now that it seems that you're going to be the spokesperson for this project, where are you at with your services as far as completion?
Well, our services are not complete until the building is complete.
Okay.
We're providing construction observation with y'all till the very end of the project. So, and we're not getting paid extra for that either, by the way. So we're with you to the very end to help you in any way we can. And I think we're providing additional services for you to get us through this, because we really weren't doing a lot of construction administration at the end because you did have a project manager. But now, we're helping pull that load and doing more construction administration for not only this project, but the other projects that you haven't had go out to bid yet. We just talked about the civil last week. That's gone, and we're about to sign contracts on that construction effort. There are still 2 or 3 other elements that you need in the project to get not only a permit, but to be safe within the building. So those will be procured over the next month or so. So yes, that work will continue on till the very bitter end.
Okay, so yeah, because I think it's very important to clarify. I guess I'm not going to say misconceptions, but yeah, there has been delays. But just like you said, it's a shared responsibility amongst all parties. It's not just one individual that causes delays. So I think it's very important to notify. To clarify that in open session. And more importantly, sir, I think it's very important when you hit something that I've been, I guess, saying since the beginning, and I'm not making excuses for anyone because I'm not the contractor, I'm not the PM nor the architect, but I've been saying this since day one, since all these delays started, and COVID played a huge part in this. It shook everything up. I think we're very fortunate. I think it needs to be highlighted. We're very fortunate at the prices that we actually got these buildings at, compared to what's going on right now in the market. So if you want to talk about that, sir, I think that the guaranteed price that we got, I think it's very important because a lot of these buildings are going for way more than what they are right now. And unfortunately, of course, there was a lot of unforeseen circumstances that came to fruition here post-COVID. So you want to elaborate on that, sir, please?
Well, I would just say that there is a change order in play from this contractor for price escalations, and we have yet to approve that because we're evaluating that very closely. And we're working with Mr. Weller to help us, and also and Kyle Workman, if I remember his last name, to help evaluate the price escalation change order that's happening. So there may be some more money we're going to have to spend. I think we've talked about that before, but there's no doubt that these buildings are costing school districts a lot more money right now. And I think y'all were at a pretty good time to bid. If you were to try to bid those projects now, they would be significantly higher in cost. So yes.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Mr. Alex, I do have one quick question. It's just, I saw you got a little excited there when you said you got 2 truckloads of structural steel. Do you anticipate any more delays on that?
I don't think so, no. I don't.
So are we on
yeah.
schedule now with the
Yes,
steel?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're real clear on everything that we're going through right now. So the timeline, I know you will give us a more accurate timeline, but in sitting in the meetings with the contractor, with you, with the attorneys, it's important to note also the responsibility of each player. And so what I would say, when it comes to project management, that is until the end of the project as well, because the project does not end right now. And that is why you're taking up those responsibilities.
Yes.
And you're assisting us with that.
Yes.
So when we would say, and I just want to make sure that we are very clear, that 80% of the work is done by a project manager, at this point, it's not, because the project manager is there until the very end of the project. Another thing that I would like to say is that with Mr. Alex and with ROFA, I think that, and I want to commend him and commend Mr. Weller as well, because now there is more information, there is more clarity. Even if it's a harsh reality, they will come forward with the harsh reality and with a solution to it. And so that is the huge shift that I have seen. I know that it's very difficult to make a decision when you only have partial information. I know that also while the COVID pandemic did impact not only this construction project, but many across the nation, that there have been other areas where we could have really streamlined things and our timeline wouldn't be what it is right now. And so with that being up in the air and with me being in those conversations, it's very clear that I feel now we're going to get to that end point, and the only thing that at this point we need is that report, because that is going to determine a lot of things. It's going to determine timeline. It's going to determine cost, because if that building is not exactly where it should be, then that is going to create another situation that we would have to deal with. And that's something we don't want to jump the gun on, because again, we're waiting for the complete report.
Just give me a few more days and I'll have a report for you.
Thank you, sir. All right, we move on to item number 7, consent agenda, and we begin with academic services. Item 7.1, request approval of the clinical education affiliation agreement between San Benito CISD and Black Ridge Canyon Healthcare, LLC, doing business as Treasure Hills Healthcare and Rehabilitation Center. Are there any questions? Consent. Item 7.2, request approval of the clinical education affiliation agreement between San Benito CISD and Starr County Hospital District, doing business as Harlingen Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. Questions? Consent. Item 7.3, request approval of the clinical education affiliation agreement between San Benito CISD and the Medicine Shop Pharmacy. Questions? Consent. Item 7.4, request approval of the clinical education affiliation agreement between San Benito CISD and CARE RX. Questions? Consent. Item 7.5, request approval of the clinical education affiliation agreement between San Benito CISD and Salinas Pharmacy. Questions? Consent. We're going to strike item 7.6 since it is the same item as 7.5. We move on to item 7.7, request approval of the clinical education affiliation agreement between San Benito CISD and Harlingen Pharmacy. Are there any questions? Consent. Item 7.8, request approval of the clinical education affiliation agreement between San Benito CISD and Fry's Prescription Pharmacy. Questions? Consent. Item 7.9, request approval of the clinical education affiliation agreement between San Benito CISD and Walgreens Pharmacy. Questions? Consent. Item 7.10, request approval of the education affiliation agreement between San Benito CISD and the University of Texas at Rio Grande Valley Counseling Program. Questions? Consent. Item 7.11 will be removed from this agenda item. 7.12, request approval of course catalogs for the 23-24 school year. Questions? Consent. We move on to finance, item 8 point. She probably didn't. Okay, item 7.13, request approval of EOC graduation initiative for San Benito High School. Are there any questions? Consent. Moving on to consent agenda items under finance. 8.1, request approval to accept gifts and bequests for 22-23 school year. Are there any questions? Consent. Item 8.2, request approval of budget amendments for the 22-23 school year. Questions? Consent. Item 8.3, request approval of cash account report. Questions? Consent. Item 8.4, request approval of comparison of revenue and expenditures to budget. Questions? Consent. Item 8.5, request approval of tax collection report. Questions? Consent. Item 8.6, request approval of check disbursements for the month of February. Questions? Consent. Item 8.7, request approval to extend the depository services contract for an additional 2-year term, second extension. Questions? Consent. Under administration, item 9.1, request approval of board minutes. Questions? Consent. Okay, so at this point, I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items 7.1 through 7.5, 7.7 through 7.10, 7.12, 7.13, consent agenda items 8.1 through 8.7, and consent agenda item 9.1 as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Dr. Ariel Cruz. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Rudy Corona. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. We move on to action agenda items. Item 10.1, discussion, consideration, and possible approval regarding purchases over $25,000. Ms. Cervellon.
Yes, sir. I recommend the board approve all purchases over $25,000 as presented.
Board members, are there any questions?
So moved.
Okay, Ms. Cervellon has made a recommendation. We have a motion on the floor by Mr. Frutoso Gomez. Do I have a second to approve as presented? Second by Oscar Medrano. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. We move on to item 10.2, discussion, consideration, and possible approval of engagement letter between San Benito CISD and Carr, Riggs and Ingram LLC as an extension of auditing services. Ms. Cervellon.
Yes, I also recommend the board approve Carr, Riggs, and Ingram LLC as an extension of auditing services for San Benito CISD.
Board members, are there any questions?
This is the same scope that they've been doing for the last 2 years?
Correct.
Is there, is this for 2 more years or just a 1 more year?
1 more year. So we can, do you want to explain, Ms. Mata? You can do it from there. I think Dr. Cruz wasn't here.
Okay, the reason is that this will be the 3rd year, and so it'll be my 2nd year with them, and I think we did good work together. We have a basis, and hopefully it'll be a faster process, and we have an establishment already.
Ma'am, I got a question, Ms. Mata. Is this the same firm that kind of had some concerns about our processes internally as far as how we handle certain things, as far as efficiency or timing wise? Is that the same group?
It's the one that we used this past year. They've used them twice.
And there were.
No, for me, I think that it's just a matter of making sure that everything that, remember that PowerPoint that we did?
Okay,
That
okay.
it had the things, that we keep up with it.
Okay.
And hopefully by the time that we have to do it, we can have the audit, even faster.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
How often do we have to go out for bids on these, on the external audits?
It's recommended that you go out at least every 3 years, 2 or 3 years, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just knew it was coming up because I knew it was 2 years and then the option to extend it 1 more year.
Are there any further questions? Do I have a motion to approve as recommended by Ms. Cervellon, item 10.2?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Oscar Medrano, second.
Second.
Second by Rudy Corona. Oh, sorry. Second by Orlando Lopez. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. All right, we move on to closed meeting. In accordance with Texas Government Code, Open Meetings Act, the board may move into closed session for the following reasons. Section 551.071, for the purpose of a private consultation with the board's attorney on any or all subjects or matters authorized by law. Section 551.074, for the purpose of considering the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear complaints or charges against a public officer or employee. And Section 551.082, certain school board deliberations. The time is 7:42, and we move into executive session. Okay, the time is 9:35, and we reconvene into open session. We move on to action on matters considered in closed session. Item 2.3, discussion, consideration, and possible action to reemploy administrator probationary contracts for the 23-24 school year. Ms. Cervellon.
Yes, I recommend the board approve to reemploy administrator probationary contracts for the 23-24 school year.
Ms. Cervellon has made a recommendation. Do I have a motion? Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Cruz. Second? Second by Mario Silva. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Item 2.4, discussion, consideration, and possible action to renew term contracts for administrators for the 23-24 school year. Ms. Cervellon.
Yes, I recommend the board approve the renewal of term contracts for administrators for the 23-24 school year.
Ms. Cervellon has made a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Okay, we have a motion by Oscar Medrano. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Frutoso Gomez. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Item 12.5, right, 12.5, discussion and consideration to reemploy probationary contract employees to include teachers, librarians, counselors, and nurses for the 23-24 school year. Ms. Cervellon.
Yes, I recommend that the board reemploy probationary contract employees to include teachers, librarians, counselors, and nurses for the 23-24 school year.
Okay, Ms. Cervellon has made a recommendation. Do I have a motion? Okay,
So move.
we have a motion by Rudy Coronas. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Oscar Medrano. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. And item 12.6, discussion and consideration to renew term contract employees to include teachers, librarians, counselors, and nurses for the 23-24 school year. Ms. Cervellon.
Yes, I recommend the board approve to renew term contract employees to include teachers, librarians, counselors, and nurses for the 23-24 school year.
Okay, Ms. Cervellon has made a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Dr. Cruz has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Oscar Medrano. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Next item is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Mario, no, Rudy Corona. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Oscar Medrano. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Mr. Weller, you have a good night.
Night, thank you.
Thank you.